welcome to the LGBTQ Voice. My name is Eileen Dugas. I am the network coordinator for South Coast LGBTQ Network. Today we are going to talk about drag performances, and my guests today are Queens of the South Coast, Crystal Diamonds and Jaihla Rhodes. So welcome.
Hi Eileen, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you for coming today.
Absolutely, thank you for having us.
And I'm really excited to talk about drag performances. I think it's probably, new, exciting to this area.
Absolutely.
And it's also probably a little misunderstood. So I love to have this opportunity to talk with you about that.
Yeah, I think the South Coast needs a little bit of an eye-opener.
Yes, maybe. So here you are doing that work. So thank you. So let's start with talking about how did you get involved in drag performances? How did that happen?
Well, for myself, when I was in high school, I always enjoyed makeup, the talent, the theater scene, and not so much theater, but more on the photography, fashion side.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal was to go to FIT in New York for photography, and that kind of slipped through the cracks. So when I graduated, I took upon makeup upon myself and explored the drag career. And with entertainment as a drag queen, it's almost photography, makeup, theater, everything all in one. So it kind of sorted itself out over time without plan. And here we are today, Queens of the South Coast.
So you said that you were interested in school, in theater, and fashion, makeup, but you didn't really engage in any of those things.
I didn't pursue it, no.
Why?
Back then, I was very closeted. I was scared of what the world thought. And I didn't quite understand or grasp the concept as an entertainer. I always thought of it as taboo, or we were taught it was taboo. And on the second hand, I was very shy in high school. I mean, I never in a million years would have thought that I would have been on stage today with thousands of eyes looking at me. I mean, we did Rhode Island Pride this year, and it was amazing. The crowd was just thriving. And to look back to when I was in high school, I never in a million years would have thought that I had the audacity to stand up in front of all those people and entertain the crowd.
I think also the community is a little different. So when you were in high school, maybe the community wouldn't have responded the same way as they do today, and there's been a lot of growth.
And in high school days, we didn't have local drag. I mean, not even in the South Coast. We would branch out to Providence and to Boston, and even then it was get ready and run to the club and hide underneath until we came out in the club. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of money to look this good, but it takes a lot of time and practice and effort to be able to build that stamina that you have today as an entertainer.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jaihla, how did you get involved in drag? What made you get involved with drag?
The first time I did drag, I was 16 years old. It was for Halloween. I was Nicole Scherzinger from the Pussycat Dolls. And I didn't even think of it as like drag. it was Halloween. I wanted to do something cute.
It was every gay boy's limelight to dress in drag for Halloween.
Pretty much. And it was before RuPaul's Drag Race. It was before drag was very mainstream. And I just remember people like, oh, are you trans now? I'm like, no. No. I'd like to take it off, basically.
Yeah.
But when I really started getting serious with drag was when RuPaul's Drag Race started coming out. I remember watching it on Netflix and just being like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. And this was at 18, 19. And then I moved to Vegas, where I was like, ooh, I can do drag in Vegas. But then I had to wait till I was 21. Couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. Like, I could have gotten a fake ID, but it's like, that's risking your career to go into a club with a fake ID and lie.
But then again, with that time frame, practice made perfect.
Exactly. So I remember I would go out on the strip with my roommate in drag, and like, it was just like a clout builder, basically, being out on the strip, and people like, oh my God, you're so pretty. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm doing the right thing. And then I finally turned 21, and I finally started performing, and that's just what kicked it off, and it just kept going from there.
So you were in Vegas when you first performed.
Yes.
Where did you live before Vegas?
I lived in Maine.
In Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the difference between Maine and Vegas?
It was a huge, I literally lived in, like, the sticks, like, the boonies, like, middle of nowhere. move into this huge city and all the lights and everything. It was like overwhelming. But also when I moved there, I was only 19. So I started out in Vegas, working a regular job, like living a normal life, not going out partying because I wasn't 21. I wasn't gambling, nothing. But then once I turned 21, that all changed.
Yeah. So you said you were 16, you dressed for Halloween. Were there any peer repercussions for doing that?
Surprisingly, no. Like it was mostly positive feedback because I
But then-
looked like a girl.
Then again, it's Halloween. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it almost makes up for the experience of trying to dress in drag or
Yeah.
putting on makeup and a wig and heels
It provides-
versus
It's like an
doing it.
excuse.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and
Provides
it's
an outlet without consequence.
correct,
Yes.
correct.
But the good thing about it was like I really looked like a girl. Especially in the beginning, like I just did like girl makeup and I really looked like a girl. Like people were like, "Oh, who's that new girl?" And like, "That's Dean."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh." And so like I remember because I was a cheerleader, so I was friends with all cheerleaders, so I was really popular in high school, so I never really had a problem with like. And plus, I went to a big school, so there was a lot of gay people there too.
Nice.
And I just remember like one of the basketball players was like, "Oh, who's that new girl? She's fine as hell." I'm like, "That's Dean." Like, whoa!
Yeah. So you had two different experiences in high school. So you, Jaihla, you had an experience where you felt pretty comfortable and safe to be who you were. And Crystal, you did not. You were really shy.
Right.
Not that you didn't feel safe. You didn't even
And
go
the
the-
thought of drag
yeah.
entertainment never even crossed
never
my
went
mind
there.
back then.
So two totally different experiences. Tell me about that first time you performed. What was that like?
Nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
but so exhilarating.
Yep.
Knowing that the confidence level was there. I mean, my first time was at a benefit at AIDS in Fairhaven at the Seaport Inn, and it was exhilarating. Like I said, I mean, there were so many other drag queens there, or entertainers, period, that gave you the confidence to be able to do it. And without them, I mean, I don't think I would have got on stage. But after getting off stage, I knew that I could do this. I knew that it was going to be a part-time job. I knew that the talent was there. I just had to grow, you
Right.
know.
What about you, Jaihla?
My first time performing was in Vegas. It was a competition, just like a little mini competition at a club that's no longer there. It was Revolution in Treasure Island was where it was. And I remember I had this little sparkly dress on. I had my hair all cute. I was going to do Countdown by Beyonce. I was so prepared, had choreography, everything. I brought the wrong CD.
Oh, no.
So I ended up doing I'm a Slave for You by Britney Spears in an outfit that did not match the song at all. So it was a very awkward experience, to be honest. Like, I was so well prepared and it just kind of,
Flopped.
it wasn't that it didn't really flop. It just, like I was still perceived well. It was just not, I'm a wicked planner. Like I am very detail oriented, and this was like, there's been multiple moments in my career where it's just been like, oh, that's not what I planned, but still got to roll with it anyway.
Right. 'Cause
So
once you're up there.
yeah, once you're up there, once that song starts, you got to go, no matter what's happening. And that was like a true test from the very beginning. Like I could have just been like, stop, that's not the right song. I was like, nope, let's do it.
You roll with it. You roll with it as an entertainer. You're there to entertain, whether it's planned or not.
Yep.
So you started in Fairhaven, you started in Vegas, but yet we have Queens of the South Coast. So let's talk about that. How did that happen?
Like Dean, I ventured out, or like Jaihla, I should say. I ventured out to Las Vegas. I had family that lived there, and my ideal thought process with moving to Vegas was to become the Limelight entertainer, which did not go as planned. There is tons of competition in that Sin City that they say it is. But thankfully, we met in Vegas, and we ended up coming back to the South Coast. So the way we thought it out was, why compete here when we can move back to the East Coast where we both belong, or where we both come from, and pursue the drag career where it's not as common as it is here. And I mean, granted, we do have entertainment as far as drag in Providence and in Boston, but to bring it to the subsidized cities like New Bedford and Fairhaven and Dartmouth. I mean,
Right.
Westport, the little towns that you would never expect to see this type of entertainment, is amazing. I mean, it's something that I never thought I would have here in my hometown. But as far as it's come, I'm very thankful. It's a great experience, and it's something that I never thought it would happen here. You know?
It is amazing to see the growth in this area and what you're bringing as the Queens of South Coast to this area. Tell me a little bit about how you met. How did that happen? You obviously it was in Vegas. You met.
Yep.
Were you? How
I
did that
went
happen?
to a nightclub where Dean was performing one night, and that was something that I was absolutely intrigued in, being able to do drag in Las Vegas. And we started chit-chatting at the bar, and one thing led to another, and the experience and the education, you learn so much from your sisters, as they would say, a fellow entertainer, and coming together as one and thinking or planning that we would bring it back to the South Coast was just something that I never thought would happen. And when we brought it back to the South Coast and it exploded in such a short amount of time, and people saw it as entertainment rather than taboo in the area that is so tiny and so small-minded, or used to be small-minded, was awesome. The support, everything about it was the family, the friends, people that I never thought would ever come to see me perform. I mean, when you get on stage and you see a face that you know, and they're smiling from ear to ear, that's drag entertainment.
That's home.
Yes, absolutely.
So I know that you have done you've done performances together, like you do separate performances and performances together. Did you do that in Vegas as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did it for a Halloween competition, speaking
Yep.
of
Nice.
Halloween.
Halloween is almost here. What was your most memorable performance?
Pride. Pride 2019 in Providence.
Providence.
There was over 5,000 people there. It was just insane. It was beautiful and wonderful, and I can't wait to do it again. Basically, like it was the largest audience I've ever performed for. Everyone was just living for everything that was happening. It was Pride. Like everyone was happy, prideful. Like that's what Pride is.
Yeah, and I would have to agree as far as the large standard of an audience, but the small audiences at the hometown club or the hometown bar or the venue with close family and friends, and everybody's having a cocktail and, well, laughing and enjoying the moment, that hits home for me, absolutely. And I think that always will. As great as the audience can be, the smaller audiences have such a wonderful time.
What was the performance you wish didn't happen?
My first performance.
Your first.
I wish it went according to plan.
Yeah.
Like, God knows where I'd be now. No,
Yeah.
I'd probably still be in the same place. But
I can't say that there's one I regret. I mean, as much as when I first started, it took a long time to look this good. But it was all experience. It was a learning curve. And I don't think without those terrible, or as I thought, terrible performances or not planned, because I am not a coordinator like Jaihla Rhodes. I go with the flow, the song comes on, and that's it. We're here to entertain. But without each and every one of those, I would not be where I am today. You know what I mean?
So you look at each one as an opportunity for growth, to learn,
Absolutely.
and to
You're
have
always
a
learning.
great time.
Always learning.
I've
and
seen-
not only in the entertainment field, but in real life. We learn from one another.
Absolutely.
You know?
Speaking about learning from one another, what is the community, the drag community, like in this area?
it depends on the person, honestly.
Absolutely.
It is very cliquey. Like,
Okay.
there are cliques.
And it can be very cutthroat. I mean,
Yeah.
it is entertainment,
Right.
and everybody thrives their bang for their buck.
Right.
But there are a lot of humble
Yes.
entertainers in this area, and the personas of each and every one of them.
Everyone's different.
It absolutely is, like she said. Everyone is different, but we do have a lot of good in this area, and you do learn from one another. You know what I mean? And venturing out as far as Connecticut and Western Mass, and we went to New York to perform, and you do meet some that give you the side eye, and you do meet some that help you along the way and are thrilled to be able to work with you as an entertainer, and that's what counts. you can never forget. I mean, the good will always overpower the ugly.
Absolutely. Do you have your, I'm not asking you to call them out, but do you have your go-to people that you go to when you need support, advice, or?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Family is key.
Especially when it comes to booking shows. Like, once you find people that you're really good at working with,
It's tough to book from the outside.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But as far as support, I would have to say family. My godparents have always been a strong support. Cheryl Moniz and Mike Moniz, my family, my mother and father. I mean, it was always a phase. It was always a phase, and now it's to the point where my mom bought my jewelry I'm wearing today.
Nice.
And friends and family, they definitely play a strong role.
And I do see their support because I see them at many of your performances.
Absolutely.
So I do see them
And I'm
there.
so blessed to have them there.
Yes, so.
I mean, and Jaihla's family's a little out of state, but
Oh,
yeah.
when they have the
My family's all
chance,
Maine.
they sure do come and support. And
Absolutely.
They're trying to get us to go up there. That's next.
yeah.
Bring a drag
Really?
bingo to northern
Queens
Maine.
of the South Coast in the woods.
Yes.
Yes.
Queens of the Woods.
That's interesting, Queens of the Woods. Drag bingo. So that's something that, is that something that you developed, you created? I mean, I'm not in the drag scene.
Drag bingo it's been going on for years and decades as far as I know.
We just put our own little twist on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we teamed up with one of our sponsors, Kristen Cardozo. She's part of the Athena's Goddess Corporation, and it was hearsay. I mean, it was one person said, you should meet Kristen, you guys would do great together, and then someone
It was
told her, you guys
very
should
word
meet
of mouth.
Queens of the South Coast, very word of mouth. And we linked up with her one day, we had lunch, and we gave it a shot, and here we are today. I mean,
Yeah.
almost a year later, if not longer.
Because we've been doing shows in the area for years, and drag bingo's been like our most successful, steady show. We've been doing it for almost 2 years now.
Absolutely. And we all know New Englanders love to gamble.
That's
Yep.
right.
But when you're
And the
gambling,
prizes are different than like
right.
other.
And you also have entertainment, and
Yeah.
and it's different faces, and it's
always
something
a
that
fun
they
time.
can engage in.
How have the venues, so you've expanded your venues. So originally,
We've had so many venues.
from when I started coming to your shows, when I've met you, the venues have expanded, and it's been, 2 years since
Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
you? So how does that happen, and how are the venues about drag performers?
It's all about the location, the setup,
The size.
the size, how many people we're able to fit, how many people are willing to come, and the staff. We have been to many venues where we've had employees that are amazing. They are completely catered to every single one of our needs.
Because they see us as entertainers.
Yes, and
Rather than venues that turn a side eye.
yeah.
I mean,
They're like, oh, just do whatever you want. Like,
right.
we're
it's
just
not.
here to do our normal job.
And those people are very small-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus staff that are willing to see what we can bring to the table and have saw what we bring to the table.
Right. And I think that's really a great point, because I think there are times when people do not understand really what a drag performance is. What is this all about? Someone says, we're having a drag performance here on this date, and Queens of the South Coast show up, and then you're following the people that want to see you, that come to all of your shows when they can, show up, and I think they're shocked by what this really is about. And I think if people just give an opportunity, have an open mind about what this is, they will be surprised at the outcome.
I
Because
mean, look, we're coming into 2020, right? And
Yes.
2020 means vision, so I think
Yep.
they should open their eyes in the next year to what we're bringing.
absolutely.
We have a lot coming next year.
Absolutely.
We have a lot in store.
And you've done a lot with Pride. You've been part of the South Coast Pride. You've volunteered your time many, many times for that. You've also were the first fundraising event for Fall River Pride Committee, who had a drag brunch, which was amazing. And you just continue to be part of the community,
Absolutely.
which shows your commitment and that you really, really want to be here and bring this.
And as you should.
Yeah. We're
I mean-
Queens of the South Coast, so our focus is the South Coast.
Absolutely.
Just makes sense.
And as much as it's a second-time job, a part-time job, you have to give back to the community that you thrive in and the community that you grew up in.
Absolutely.
You have to
it's-
support who supports you.
Absolutely. Well said.
And we appreciate that, so thank you.
Thank you.
So the next question is a little bit about drag performance versus your day-to-day life. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I run into, and even my own family members have said to me, what is that drag performance? What does that mean? What does that look like? So talk a little bit about what that is. What is drag performance and what is your real life? Because they're not the same.
It's a lot more than putting on a wig and a pair of heels.
Right.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Right.
Entertainment. Entertainment is key. And I think a few years ago it was saw as taboo, and it was saw as being an individual that dresses in women's clothes and
Like a cross-dresser.
Absolutely.
Hate that
And
word.
there are two totally different terms.
Yeah.
To turn around and call a drag queen a cross-dresser is disgusting, because a cross-dresser doesn't entertain, if you catch my
It's a
drift.
fetish.
But
Cross-dressing
as
is
an
a fetish.
entertainer, you're bringing entertainment. It's, again, with the smiles on people's faces and the photos after the event and the following on social media, because social media plays a big presence in Queens of the South Coast. But it's entertainment. It's something that we all look forward to doing, or Jaihla, Rhodes, and myself on the weekends as Queens of the South Coast, and meeting new people and seeing new faces and expanding the venues and bringing joy to the area in a different outlook is something that, again, I never thought would happen in this area.
Right. But it's here.
It is.
Exactly.
And it's exploding. So talk a little bit about, is this your full-time job?
No.
It pays the bills. It's
pays-
not full-time, but it pays the
It pays
bills.
the
That
bills.
is for sure.
So when you go to your other job, your other source of income, is this how you appear at your other?
Oh, absolutely not. Although I have
No.
for holiday parties.
You have?
My full-time job is I dispatch for a private ambulance company
Yes.
here in the South Coast, and that as Jaihla said, pays the bills. As far as my part-time job, Crystal Diamonds, it's something that is something I thought, again, I would never do, but something that has thrived to be something that I love, something that I enjoy doing on the weekends. And dressing in drag is not only a career, but a lifestyle for me now.
Right.
You know?
So Jaihla, you have another source of income as
Oh.
well?
Yeah, I'm a server at the good old Olive Garden.
Yay.
Free breadsticks for everyone. Just make sure you buy a Dippin' Boat too.
Yes, okay.
But
So,
for me, drag is my life. Like, I couldn't imagine my life without doing drag. Basically, like, yeah, I work at Olive Garden, but drag is like my career, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
have you ever had an experience where you see someone that you see often at a drag performance, maybe it's someone who comes to the show, maybe it's other performers, and they don't recognize you and you recognize them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Used to.
It doesn't happen often anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not so much anymore, but
It's more
especially when you're new to an area.
Right.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
especially if you like, and there's a lot of people where they look completely different online than they do in person.
Right.
And Facetune does wonders. But
Yeah.
I mean, and
This
it's
is no filter.
not so much of them not recognizing you now. I mean, to the point where when I'm not in drag, I go to the convenience store and they say, "Are you Crystal Diamonds?
Yep.
Are you part of Queens of the South Coast? Because we went to brunch, or we went to bingo last week in Fairhaven." And I said, "Yes, that's me."
Yeah.
So they're now recognizing the
Out of drag.
features rather than the makeup,
Yeah.
the illusion that
Yeah.
they see.
Because that's
Doesn't that
all
feel
my big
amazing,
thing.
though?
It is. It absolutely is. It's almost like it's well deserved because
Yeah.
you put in that time and that effort.
And
And
I've always kept my like drag life and my personal life completely separate. And to have people start recognizing me out of drag, I'm like, oh crap. I need to start putting on a hat or something. Like,
And see, I felt that way for the longest time as well, but now it's, like we said, it's an achievement, you know, and
yeah.
So I asked that question originally, and you made it so clear. This is a job. It's entertainment. It's a huge part of your life, but it's not all of who you are. You have
Absolutely.
other jobs. You have families. You do things that everyone else does, and you may or may not appear in this attire at all times. So
No,
I think it's
definitely not.
really important for people to understand that and realize what drag is, and it is performance and it is entertainment. So thank you for answering that question.
Absolutely.
The
Thank
best
you.
part of doing drag is being able to take it off.
Amen.
It's the best feeling in the world to take it all off.
It takes a lot longer to get into it than it does getting out.
I'm sure, and I'm sure you're happy about that.
Amen.
Do you have anything that you would say to someone who's interested, really is thinking about drag and performing, but a little shy or resistant? What would you say to them?
Give it a shot.
Yes.
That's what I did.
I have a lot of people that ask me, like, how do you get so good at makeup? YouTube. The one thing of advice that I can give to anyone is to just watch YouTube tutorials.
And
Like,
don't
they
give up.
teach you so much, and you just gotta practice. It took me
Practice makes
5
perfect.
years to look this good. Like,
Practice makes perfect. Never giving up. I mean, like, as you would say in the real world, or not so much the entertainment world, is we try and we try and we try and we don't
Right.
give up. We may cuss in between trying and trying and trying,
Yes.
but we don't give up. And that's something that I think needs to be spread just as much as love and open-mindedness in the world to this day.
And I want to acknowledge that even though I've only known you and seen your performances for the last 2 years, I have seen so much growth in so
Thank
many
you.
different performances. It's tremendous. So your efforts are not going unnoticed. I want you to know that.
We love you, Eileen.
Thank you. I love you too. So before we go, do you want to talk about the event coming up November 3rd?
Absolutely.
yes.
We started a drag brunch here in New Bedford, which is one of two that we do in the South Coast. One is at Clary's in Fairhaven, which is sponsored by Athena's, Kristen
Yeah.
Cardozo, which she sponsors our drag bingo nights as well. The drag brunch is here on November 3rd at the Harbor Hotel. It is part of the South Coast LGBTQ network,
It's a
which we teamed
fundraiser.
up with. Yep, it's a fundraiser for the network. And I want to say it's Sunday, November 3rd
It
at...
is. 11, I believe. But
I
you
have
can
way too many
yeah.
events going in this month.
You can go onto our website and
And Queens of the South Coast on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like.
yes, and you will be able to find out more information about all of the events that are coming up on our website, on our Facebook page. I want to say we're hopeful we'll see you at South Coast Pride 2020.
Of course, it's a given.
And thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey to
Thank you for having us.
becoming
Thank you so
such
much.
amazing
Thank you
performers.
for having us.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next time.